trying to figure out what days we're talking about. I have to call them and see, make sure everything's open.
We have as many as 669 Wyndham visitors this month.
Well, look at the weather.
Really down. Oh, yeah. Really down.
If you had thoughts of coming here, I mean, there were so many days you couldn't do anything. And if you saw the forecast, you'd say, well, I think I'll cancel and come another month.
Well, they'll come for Christmas.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
But it's been super slow.
But yeah, we felt it. Golf was great. Although I was surprised, I was out there yesterday, not playing golf but driving home, and I actually saw people out in carts, not even on the cart.
All right, good morning. It's now 9 o'clock. This is the monthly meeting. The Fairfield Glade Community Club Board of Directors will now come to order. This morning's meeting is open to all members of the community club and is being recorded for viewing on the community club website. We are also live streaming this morning's meeting for member viewing. To honor America, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence to remember those who are serving in uniform and defending freedom. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Pat, please call the roll of the board members.
Mr. Cox? Here. Mr. Flora?
Here.
Mrs. Galloway?
Here.
Mr. Horn?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. Storr?
Here.
Mr. Wedgeworth?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, there are 7 board members present, therefore we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Pat. The first item on this morning's agenda is to approve the minutes from the October 27th, 2022 meeting. May I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the October 27th minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The minutes of the October 27th, 2022 board meeting are approved. We have some distinguished guests in our audience this morning. We have, first of all, Mayor Foster sent me a message this morning extending his best wishes for the holiday season to all of us and indicating that he would not be attending this morning. But fortunately for Alan, we have his better half here this morning. And so, Rebecca, did you want to make a few comments?
And I'm not actually speaking on behalf of the mayor, except to say Merry Christmas. He did want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. But I work for Congressman John Rose. He's your U.S. representative in the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. And I just wanted to let everyone know here, so you can spread the word, that on the second Thursday of each month at 11:30 for about an hour, usually I'm there a little bit longer if I'm needed, but 11:30 to 12:30 at the Fairfield Glade Resident Services Center office, I'm there available for anyone who wants to come and see us instead of having to come to Cookeville or do business over the phone. A lot of people like to do it face to face. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. I have a few pamphlets and I'll just leave them in the back. And if anybody would want to pick one up, and that way you can kind of see what types of things we do. But I just wanted to make that announcement today. And have a Merry Christmas from myself as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. We also have our 9th District Commissioner, Colleen Mall. I think I saw you come in, Colleen. Okay, and our 6th District Commissioner, Joe Sherrill. Do either one of you want to make any comments? All right, Joe?
Good morning, thank you. I just wanted to stand up to say thank you for allowing me to be part of your team, and also as part of with the county government. We're really excited to pull in 2023, and it's just kind of the year where I think now we're totally in the good. The whole ugly COVID world's over. To 2022 is a transition. It just feels really good for what's coming next year. I look forward to working with everybody.
Thank you, Joe. I'd like to share the following comments from across the board. We want to take some time in this month's across the board message to share some holiday thoughts. November and December always seem to be a special time of the year, and given the very real concern over the future of the economy and rising prices, we are all looking forward to being able to take time out and spend that time to celebrate the holidays with our families and friends. The holidays are also a special time for reflection, when we take the time to give thanks for our good fortune and all the blessings we've received. This is also the special time of year when our hearts are touched by the need to share our good fortunes with those who are less fortunate and are in need. The urge we feel to share with others and to give back to our community is one of the very special blessings that comes with this holiday season. This year, the needs of many are real, so when you feel the urge to share and give back, please be generous. As we end one year and look forward to the beginning of a new year, many of us will once again feel a sense of renewed optimism. We will have a sense that better days are ahead and that the future is bright. And we all share that optimism and look forward to what lies ahead in 2023. We know we will face continued challenges and the road ahead may have a bump or two, but we remain cautiously optimistic that better times and brighter days are ahead. So on behalf of all the members of the Community Club family, from your board of directors to the senior management team and all the Community Club team members, we wish each and every member of our Fairfield Glade community a very merry and safe Christmas and a happy and healthy new year. We are projecting that we will once again finish the current year with very strong financial performance, allowing the Community Club to add additional funds to our reserve balances for future projects and rainy days. As we look forward to 2023, we are cautiously optimistic that we will be able to maintain our current financial performance trends. We are, however, very aware that the uncertainties associated with unpredictable interruptions in the global supply chain will more than likely result in negative impacts on both the availability of certain goods and services, as well as increasing the cost of the goods and services that are available. The limited availability of some goods and services coupled with increased costs will not only affect the community club, but will be felt by our individual members as well. Furthermore, we expect that the current conditions in the labor market will persist well into 2023, resulting in a need to increase our focus and expenses associated with recruiting and retaining high-quality members for our community club team. Our 2023 budget addresses both challenges by reflecting only modest increases in revenues, additional salary and personnel-related expenses, as well as modest expenditures on our major capital projects. Our 2023 budget is also consistent with our pay-to-play philosophy in that it continues to focus on balancing the financial burdens of the community club between our full membership, supporting the investments in the community, while members and guests using the amenities fund not only the operating costs of the amenities, but offset a portion of the overall POA operating costs. We will remain vigilant in monitoring our financial performance as the year unfolds, and we will take the necessary actions to ensure we minimize any negative impacts. We are again facing the annual flu season, which is anticipated to be more serious than in previous years, so please take the time to consider receiving this year's flu vaccination to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your friends. We have begun the initial work with Private Club Associates on their comprehensive strategic planning engagement to deliver a strategic plan document designed to grow and change and evolve with time. The plan will be consistent with the community club's mission, vision, and core values and the social fabric of Fairfield Glade. Included in the process will be an analysis of emerging trends among communities like ours and an examination of our facility use data along with forecasting of future needs. There will be interviews with random community members, leaders, and key stakeholders that have an impact on community development. You will be asked to participate in discussion groups. You can expect to be surveyed regarding the use of various amenities, and an extensive membership communication plan is also a component of this planning process. As part of the planning engagement, we are interviewing members for the new Strategic Planning Committee. This committee will play an important role throughout the process to develop a strategic plan document. Once the strategic plan document is completed, presented to our membership, and approved by the board, the committee will be charged with annually recommending updates based on new trends, new data, new needs, and conditions as they are identified. The committee will develop and update a work plan to be reviewed by the board annually. Members who would like to share additional comments regarding the strategic planning initiative can reach out to the strategic planning team with email messages at strategicplanning@fairfieldglade.cc. Information concerning the strategic planning team will also be available on the community club website. The board has reached an agreement with Glade Realty to enter into a marketing agreement to begin a more focused effort to market and sell selected community club-owned lots with the community to develop new homes on community club lots. The marketing and sale of the community club lots will reduce the inventory of non-revenue producing community club lots and convert them to revenue-generating membership properties. The community club will pay Glade Realty $100 per lot to list the properties on the multiple listing service, providing additional exposure to realtors and potential residents. The initial investment will total $5,000 to list the initial 50 lots, resulting in a net income to the community club of $4,900 per lot sale. The initial trial agreement will be reviewed after 4 months. Here are the latest updates on our major capital projects. The next phase of the Robin Hood Park expansion project for a pavilion with restrooms, bocce ball courts, and hard surface paths will begin with the bocce ball courts in 2023. The remainder of the project will follow through 2024. The renovation of the St. George Marina building is scheduled for the fall of 2023 and the first quarter of 2024. And at Druid Hills, the planning team continues to work on the initial planning process to determine what the next Druid Hills clubhouse facility should provide for our growing community. Soil samples were taken for the driving range and the proposed site for the new clubhouse building as reported in our last across the board. We now know that the rock is sandstone, and this means that with the information that we now have, there should be minimal issues during the construction phase. We have received a response to our request for proposal for a golf architect. The scope of that RFP is to hire a golf architect that will take the requirements developed by the golf committee, approved by the steering committee and the board, design the layout of the driving range and the practice putting green, produce construction plans for those two areas, and develop a request for proposal to hire a company to modify the existing driving range and construct the larger putting green. Provide oversight during the construction phase. The steering committee will be making a recommendation regarding the awarding of a contract to the successful responder for consideration by the board next month. The golf and the food and beverage committee gave reports on their progress at the December 2nd town hall meeting. You are referred to the member website where you can view the entire December 2nd town hall. The food and beverage committee will be conducting additional focus group meetings in early January to look deeper into the food and beverage requirements and options at Druid Hills. Members who would like to share additional comments regarding the Druid Hills project can reach out to the Druid Hills planning team by sending email messages to the planning team at druidhillsprojects@fairfieldglade.cc. Information concerning the Druid Hills Advanced Planning Team is also available on the Community Club website. And that is our December update from across the board. And with that, Bruce, the treasurer's report.
Good morning. Thank you. We continue to be financially strong through 11 months of the year, as Ken said. Looking at this sheet in front of you, I'll remind you that the numbers in parentheses, hang on, that'll take care of that. The number in parentheses relates to the numbers on the attached sheets. In sewer, we have about $4.6 million of total cash, compared to $3.9 million of cash at the end of last year, November, which is positive variation of about $780,000. For the Property Owners Association and the amenities, we have $3 million of capital cash plus $6.7 million of operating cash for a total of around $9.8 million of cash for property POA and amenities cash, compared to $8 million at the end of November of last year, which is a positive variation of $1.7 million. For cash flow, the sewer has a positive year-end forecasted budget of a little over $44,000 through November. Revenue is forecasted to be positive $164,000, which is mostly driven by increased tap fees for new homes, while expenses are forecasted to be negative $120,000 due to significant increase in grinder pump costs related to the increased tap fee revenues plus material and utility cost increases. POA is positive year to date with a year-end positive forecast variation to budget of a little over $670,000. Open positions account for much of those savings. We have, plus we have more billable lots than we budgeted, and favorable results from bad debt recovery as well. On the expense side, we continue to see higher than expected insurance and energy costs, combined with the need to write off $55,000 of bad debt related to unpaid assessments. I'd also like to note that the post office revenue is off $30,000. We didn't have nearly the package revenue we thought we typically have during Christmas, and I'm not sure why that is. So I'd encourage you all to please use our post office. It's there for our benefit, and we could certainly use the revenue. The amenities forecast is unfavorable to budget by a little over $56,000. Golf rounds continue to be positive by over 9,300 rounds per year to date, helping on the revenue side, while utility cost and fuel cost higher than budget, combined with increased cost of sales and F&B, are the major expense items this month. In addition, lake desilting expenses are favorable $61,000, while pontoon boat rental revenues are unfavorable $61,000, so that kind of balanced that out. Overall, in POA and amenities, year-end forecasted variance after 11 months of operation is still favorable to budget by $614,000, with a forecasted positive cash flow of $55,000. I wanted to talk a bit about, our financial performance continues strong, but I wanted to talk about, I've received several questions during the feedback session with the 2023 budget concerning the budget process. The questions and responses that I got are posted on the website for your viewing. I want to point out that once we approve a budget, it's a budget. And each month the board receives an updated financial report. We review the month and year-to-date performance for both operations and capital. For operations, we talk about the performance against the budget to ensure that everything possible is being done to adhere to the approved operating budget. On the capital side of the budget, the project costs are budgeted estimates and cannot be committed until or spent until the board approves each project before it's initiated. Those PRs, or purchase requests, are presented to the board in a public forum here, discussed and then voted on by the board. If you have questions on the budget process, please email me and I will gladly respond. You'll see some PRs this morning. By way of example, I've got, we'll have one this morning, a PR purchase request for a Ford F-450 truck for maintenance. Previously this year, the board approved $80,000 for that truck. But due to inflation and supply chain issues, that price has now jumped to $95,000. So the board will be considering that increase today. It's another example of where that was in the budget. We approved $80,000. It became $95,000, and Sam has come back and said, I really need the additional funds to get that money. We talked about it yesterday, and we will consider it for a vote today. So it's a good example of how we handle the capital. It may be in the budget, but it doesn't get approved or spent until this board talks about it and approves it. Also this morning, you're going to hear 4 what I call annual PRs, purchase requisitions. One is going to be for facility maintenance, for building repairs. Another is for golf course improvements, and another is for cart path paving. Those 3, the reason we do those annually is to allow the SMTs right after the first of the year to initiate those repairs and paving while we are in a slower time for us, and allows us to do things without interrupting our members and guests while they're in the activities. So we give them that order. The other one you're going to hear this morning is from Jeff for money for equipment, for maintenance equipment for the golf courses. And the reason we do that is that Jeff goes out on the market and he finds equipment that's coming off of leases by other golf courses. And if he doesn't have that authority available to him at the moment, that equipment will disappear in a day or two. And so he has saved us literally thousands and thousands of dollars every year by having that availability to just go out and buy what he needs when he needs it. Now, what we do with all those 4 PRs is every quarter the board reviews those. Each of the SMTs supplies a listing of the equipment or activities they've done against those PRs, compared it to budget, and we look at those every quarter to ensure we're tracking on managing those dollars to that degree. So those are just examples of how we continue to monitor the budget as we go. So any questions about any of that? Okay. Tom, while I'm up here, you submitted a data sheet to the board yesterday. We discussed it yesterday afternoon, and you're right, your numbers are not correct. In fact, they're confusing to me. And so what I would ask you to do, if you would email me so we can get clarity on what it is, so I can get clarity on what you're looking for, and I'll provide it for you. Okay? Anything from me? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Bob, the general manager's report.
Hey, thank you. First item is the new sign at the square is under construction. The support structure is complete now, so the next steps will be the rock facing on it. They've started that, but they can only work when we have good weather, so that will take some time. We anticipate that that will be totally done in the first quarter of 2023. Then the existing sign that's on skids is going to be moved down to the St. George Drive area between Edward Jones and St. George Drive. That area has been staked by TDOT, so we know exactly where it's going to go, and so we just have to time that. Once we're done with the one at the square, then we can move that sign down to St. George Drive area. So we're still waiting on a final quote from the vendor to do that, same vendor that's doing the sign at the square. Then some other community improvements. We've enlarged the driveway at the fire station on Stonehenge Drive, so it makes it easier for the fire trucks to turn around. Other items, the year-to-date golf rounds through last month were about 148,000. That's about 9,000 more than budget, primarily driven by golf packages. For the year, average rounds per course per day open were 116 compared to 114 in 2021. 2021 was a great year, and so 2022 has proven to be even better thanks to all the efforts of our golf team. I'd like to thank those who supported our Thanksgiving dinner at Stonehenge Grill. It was very successful. I had a lot of positive comments, and financially very successful as well. We have a special dinner for New Year's Eve scheduled. We put that email out on Tuesday, so I encourage y'all to check that email out. It's a 4 to 8 p.m., and it's got 3 entree choices, so hopefully we'll have some good support for that as well. Then we plan to continue the current yard waste pickup program. So just a reminder, that's 1 bag with your normal trash pickup each week. And then we're still in the process of looking for alternatives to our old leaf dump. We've got 2 compost sites that we've submitted permits for with TDEC. Both of those are on property. Then we are also talking with a landowner who has property outside of Fairfield Glade to see if he'd be interested in doing a landfill site. Our compost sites, we can only do leaves and yard clippings, and that's it. So no sticks, no logs, nothing of that nature like we used to do at the old leaf dump. So that's why we're exploring the landfill site off property. That would enable us to allow residents to actually drop off sticks and stumps and things of that nature. So we hope to have a final decision on that or recommendation to the board in January. And just a reminder, the current leaf pickup program ends tomorrow. So you need to have your bags out by late this afternoon, and then tomorrow will be the last day that they pick up those. The following PRs have been approved by me or the SMT since they were under the $25,000 threshold to go to the board. Clearing for Robin Hood Park for future construction, that was $9,000. Vehicle lift for our garage, $13,917. And 2 pieces of refrigerated equipment for the Stonehenge Grill Kitchen, that was $8,195. And that's all I have, so hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you, Bob. Barb, the resort report.
Good morning. Wyndham timeshare visitors month to date is 669, and year to date we've had 58,437 timeshare visitors. Our timeshare revenues, the center year to date is $17,000 like revenue, which is 4%. Our racket center is $13,647, which is 5%. St. George, $133,580, which is 48%. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Dartmoor. St. George is $49,768, which is 25%. Golf is $709,136, 10%. And food, $431,564, which is 25%. And so far this year, Wyndham visitors have contributed to our budget $1,354,705, which is an average of 13%. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Barb. The architectural control, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Or maybe going into next year, could you kind of give us an update of what the timeshares do to promote the amenities? And where I'm going with it is, we appreciate the share that they're giving us. When you break it down, and my numbers are off because you just shared 58,000 people coming. At the meeting with Drew Hills, it was shared at 55. If you use 55, timeshares contribute about $27 per capita.
Okay.
We, the members, contribute about $1,158. If we could close that gap, it would be significant.
Well, I know our concierge at the Wyndham check-in, when they give out the wristbands, that shows vendors in the area that they're Wyndham visitors, and they will give 15% off. And I believe Stonehenge gives a discount on their food, but then they tell them about the marinas and everything that's about golf and everything else. So.
Okay, Sam, the architectural control report.
The architectural control report for November is as follows. Miscellaneous approvals, which are changes to established homes, through November of 2022 is 1669. Through the same time last year is 1759. New homes have been approved this year through November is 111, and last year was 110. New homes completed this year through November is 107, and last year was 77 through the same time. Is there any questions?
Thanks, Sam.
All right, sir.
Okay, under unfinished business this morning, we have two items. First one is the proposed solar panel policy. John?
Yes. The proposed revised solar panel policy has been posted about 45 days. We received 6 inquiries from our residents, and we responded to those. So at this time, I make a motion that we approve the revised solar panel policy.
Okay, do we have a second to that?
I second that.
Okay. Okay. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I'd certainly like to thank the ACC Policy Subcommittee for the work they did on these 2 policies. It's very time consuming. They reviewed these policies from a resident's point of view and from an enforcement point of view from the ACO. And I see Glenn Polson in the audience back there. Thank you, Glenn, for you and your team, what you did on these 2 policies. Thank you very much.
Okay, is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The proposed solar panel policy changes are approved. Second item is the proposed property standards policy. John?
This policy also has been posted for 45 days. Again, we received 5 responses on this one, and most of them were not questions, they were just comments. So at this time, I move that we a motion to approve the revised property standards policy.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The property standards policy revisions have been approved. This morning, we are announcing the replacement of Misty Galloway as the declarant director on the board of directors effective January 1st of 2023. We are all sorry to see Misty leave the board after serving the board since August of 2008. During the past 14 years, she has been a valuable member and a dedicated advocate, not only for the declarant, but for the future of the entire community. We will all miss her insightful contributions and historical perspectives in our deliberations. And so, Misty, thank you for your years of service to the community. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. The declarant, Tom Anderson, has selected Ellen Anderson to fill Misty's unexpired term, and Ellen will join the Board of Directors on January 1st of 2023. So Ellen, welcome to the board, and we look forward to working with you. The next item on the agenda is the multiple listing proposal for community club lots, and you heard some comments about that during the across the board. And Greg, if you'd like to add some.
A little bit of background on this before we make the motion. We've, over the last 2 years, have really been, 3 years, well, 2 years, we've been really working very hard to try to figure out different ways to get rid of lots that are turned back to us. There's a lot of good reasons why we take them back, so they don't get into the county mix, and then it's almost impossible to get a good title on them and that type of thing. So we have an active program where we take those back. But we don't want lots. We're not a realtor, and we're not an inventory for lots. Our whole goal is to turn those around and sell them as quickly as possible, because what we want as a community is we want the membership fees from those lots. We don't want the lots. So we've tried a number of things. We've got programs working with realtors. We've been very aggressive on the pricing of lots, and we've been doing better, but we're not doing as good as we can, so we need to try to figure out some other kinds of programs that we want to try to see if they'll make a difference. To give you an idea, just so you kind of put this in perspective, if you take a look at our current situation with lots, and I'm just going to show from January 1st through the end of November of this year, so it's pretty close. But over that time, we've sold 70 lots this year. Now, last year we only sold 31 during the same time frame, so we're doing almost double better. But at the same time, last year we took in back from the community, from people giving up their lots, 127 of lots. This year it's been 174. So it doesn't take a real mental genius, even I can figure that out, that we're taking more in than what we're selling, and we're even increasing our sales, but we're still having more lots come back than what we would like. So what we've tried to do in this particular thing that we're going to make a motion on is we're trying another channel, another sales channel. We've never listed on MLS before, and Misty was very helpful in trying to get us to understand how the best way to do that it would be. And now what we're going to try for this is a trial period, we're going to put 50 of our A lots, we're only talking about A lots, which means they're ready to build. We're going to put 50 of our A lots on MLS, and we're going to put 50 of our lots listed on our website. Now, we're going to monitor the program. The Lots Committee will monitor the program, and the idea being is that we'll review this program like the middle of April, first part of May, and see what our experience is. So we're going to try it. If it doesn't work, then we probably will not continue it. If we're getting good hits on it and it's working, we'll probably continue it. So this is just really a trial period to see where we're going. So with that background, I'm going to go ahead and read the motion, and I want to make sure I read it so I get it right. As part of implementing our lot inventory reduction strategy, the Lot Committee is recommending the approval of a trial period of listing on the multiple listing service, MLS, 50 A-tier lots from the Fairfield Glade Community Club lot inventory. The Lot Committee is recommending this action as an additional channel for selling our inventory of lots. As long as lots remain in our inventory, we are not receiving dues on the lots, and the FGCC is paying taxes on those lots. Therefore, it is in the best interest of the FGCC to sell these lots as soon as practical. We will use these listings as a trial until May 31st, 2023, to evaluate how effective using MLS has been in helping FGCC reduce its lot inventory. The Lot Committee will evaluate the results of using the MLS and make a recommendation to the board as to whether the program should be continued. FGCC will incur $5,000 minimum listing fees, and that the amount will increase as a lot is sold and another lot is listed in its place by $100. When a lot is sold, FGCC will realize a net income of $4,900. That's because we're going to sell the lot for $5,500, but if we have a $100 listing fee, and if a realtor is involved, we have a program where they get a fee of $500. So that nets out to $4,900. The FGCC will need to sell 2 lots to recover our initial investment in this program. Therefore, I move that the board approves the FGC entering into a standard agreement to list 50 A-tier lots on MLS using Glade Realty at a charge of $100 per lot listed.
Okay, do we have a second to that motion?
I second the motion.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Nico.
Nico Sergio. I've been a community club member since 2005. About 2 years ago, we had a change in the sewer availability policy such that the sewer availability fee was what changed from you paid that fee when a house was built and you submitted your building permit, and it changed to when they put in the sewer line, you had maybe 90 days to pay that off. But anyway, the question that I came up at that time is I talked to Jane Walker, and I asked for a list or how she determined whether or not a lot that was gonna connect up to the sewer if they had paid that availability fee or not. So in order to protect the integrity and the honesty of the community club members, I'm gonna ask the board that when they list these lots, we should be upfront and honest, and we should have Jane Walker check to see whether or not that sewer availability has been paid. This current sewer availability fee is, or next year it's gonna be, I think, $2,050. So if somebody's gonna pay $5,550 for a lot, I think we have to be honest with that person and tell them there is a sewer, that there is a sewer fee when they're going to go ahead and submit get a permit for a building permit on that property. And when I asked Jane Walker about that, if she had a list or it was a procedure, she kind of indicated that it was a procedure she had to go through. So it's not, it would be nice if we just had her make up a list of how many properties. I don't know if there's 5 properties in the Glade or over 1,000 properties, but I think we should, in order to protect the integrity of the community club members, we should have that, when that listing is made, there should be an asterisk or a number or a note saying that sewer availability has or has not been paid, and as of 2023, that fee is $2,050, if I have that right. Thank you.
Because all of the lots are owned by the community, there are no availability fees that will be charged if they buy the lot. So, Nico, we probably won't do that because it's like any other lot that's listed on MLS. We do not have any availability fees that will be charged by these. So we're signing a standard contract. We're not putting a whole lot of special terms other than those specifically that relate to the fact this is a trial program and how the 50 lots are going to be listed. So there are no availability fees on these lots. They're already taken care of.
Information to prove that those fees have been paid.
I don't know, Amy, you want to respond to that? But the sheer nature that we're selling those lots, we sell them for the $5,500 and that fees, and that fee has long been included because these lots have been around for quite a while. So the sewer.
That availability has ever been paid.
I understand. We do not have availability fees. We've never sold a lot since I've been on the board with an availability fee attached to it. So none of these will have an availability fee. So we probably will not put an asterisk there or something because it's not germane to what this program's about.
So will the availability fee be paid in the future when they get a building permit?
It's not going to be charged. There's not going to be a charge for availability fee because we own the lots.
That's not the way it's been done in the past.
It's the same as all the lots
Amy?
that are listed on the MLS. These are gonna be treated exactly the same. So if you're buying a lot anywhere on the MLS, if you had a lot for sale, it would be handled the exact same way. It's the responsibility of your realtor, and if you're not using a realtor, it's your responsibility to have an understanding as to what fees are gonna be due and payable. Just like taxes, you need to have an understanding as to what dues are gonna be charged when you have a lot. What would have to be paid when you get a building permit is a sewer capacity fee and a grinder pump fee. They're 2 different fees. The sewer availability fee, when they run the sewer, they're assessing each property owner. What you were referencing before, we could not force that person that owned a lot and had that improvement to their property pay that fee at that time until they were ready to hook on. The covenant that was changed gave the community club the ability to assess that property owner for that improvement at the time the improvement was made. That was the difference. It's either you're gonna pay it when it was improved, and everybody I've ever spoken to was thrilled to have that improved lot because they had a lot that couldn't be built on prior to that time. So the only difference was they were assessed as soon as that improvement came to that property.
Okay. Go ahead.
I understand exactly the policy purchased and not built on for 3 or 4 or 5 years, the records, where is the record going to be that availability fee is waived or already considered prepaid? There is a list of properties, and if you look at the financial statements, availability fees a lot of availability fees are collected over the year because there's an awful lot of properties out there that were in the same situation that this was explaining. In the past, we could not require a property owner to have to prepay that availability fee. So there's sewer passing A lots. The availability fee hasn't been paid. You're going to waive them the A lots that are listed on MLS. But if an individual that buys that lot then hires a contractor 3 years from now, the contractor's going to go in, the records are going to reflect, the same records that are there now are going to reflect that no availability fee has been paid, and they're going to be charged, and there's going to be issues. And there's a list of what properties have prepaid, what properties have not prepaid. As long as whatever's listed on NLS is designated as availability fee waived, so that down the road they're not charged. I think that's going to be the problem that I see. Waiving the availability fee, whether it's been prepaid or not, is not an issue if Fairfield owns a lot and it's selling. What is an issue is that down the road, the homeowner hires a contractor who then approaches the admin to pay for the sewer tap fee and sewer capacity fee. If Jane's list shows that the availability fee has not been paid, she's going to add it to the cost.
And I can tell you, just from Fairfield Homes' perspective, that's the only company I've obviously dealt with. Every time they do a contract, they always include the sewer availability fee on that contract because they would rather show too many fees and then they'll not be assessed that and take that back off if need be. But I can't speak to how other contractors, other realtors are handling those contracts, but that is how they handle theirs to make sure that it's included.
Well, the other thing too is we're only putting 50 lots on there to begin with, and we're going to pick the lots, so we can make sure that we're picking the lots that the availability fee has already been paid, and we'll just keep that process in place until we get to a point where we have lots that maybe the availability fees have not been paid. And I think there are not an awful lot of lots out there, lots, where the availability fee has not been paid, and actually by agreement going back to when everything was turned over to the community club, you know, they indicated in the in that whole agreement that there are many lots that have already been platted, and in essence, the availability fees are essentially paid. So, but we do have that list, so we'll just make sure that none of those lots that are on the list where they owe the availability fee are on the list that goes to MLS.
And we can do that because we haven't given MLS any listings of the lots yet. We can't do that until we get approval from the board to go enter into the agreement. So that'd be a practical way to take care of it, and that's something that we'll probably have to look at if we get wildly successful with MLS listings.
But again, that's just like every lot you buy on an MLS, whether the community club owns it or not. Any lot somebody's out there purchasing from the MLS is the exact same circumstance. And it's also an important reminder of why it was such a good change that we made to the covenants, because we won't have those problems going forward. It's not a staff person trying to keep up with these things. We know when that improvement's made, all the assessments have been paid for those improvements.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Then we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed. The next item, Bruce, is the proposed 2023 budget consideration.
Yeah, let me talk about the feedback that I received. If you remember, when I presented the budget, I asked for anybody to give me an email on either feedback and or questions. I actually received 10 members actually gave me some feedback and commentary without questions. Those commentary and feedback ranged all the way from thanks for the presentation, detail was good, to can you clarify, you know, some other things. And then I had 21 members actually ask questions. So I had 31 individual members send me emails. Now, I'll tell you this, that several of them, we kind of had a chain letter thing going on where there were some members where I received 8, 9 emails from each member. So might be 31 members, but trust me, it was a lot more emails than 31. But that's okay. In fact, I encourage it. This is twice the number of members I've heard from in the past. In past years, I've heard from 14, 15 members. This year, I've heard from 31 members. Now, kind of when you think about the fact that we have 5,000 some homes here, and I get 31 members, it's kind of says to me not too many people had a lot of questions. But let me go through some of the topics. Some of the subjects where they wanted clarification about what was presented, which I went back to them and did that. One, operating and capital expenditures in view of the current economic conditions. There were some folks who were concerned about the expenditures we're making based on the current economic conditions in the country. Some members, 2 members, wanted to know what the board's salary was. So I informed them that it was 0. And one individual came back and said, okay, well, what's your expense account? And I said, that was 0. And they came back and said, so you're doing this for free? I said, yes. Never heard back. So had comments on the fire department support. Had some comments on the police department budget increase. A lot of comments, very much a lot of comments around the racket center, the fees that were changing, and then the fact that we did away with the monthly pass at the racket center. Some comments on the timeshare amenity fees, and the concept of charging a different kind of fee. A lot of comments on the Druid scope, Druid project scope and cost. And Greg and I both joined in and giving feedback to those folks. The assessment increase, there was just a few about the assessment increase. The operating reserve, a lot of confusion about that, which is why I put that slide number 15 in the presentation trying to explain what we're going to do with that $5.5 million. And then F&B, there are comments about the subsidy, obviously, but also comments about why we do not outsource the management of F&B. So when I went through all that, I determined there were 4 items that I thought the board should reconsider, and we did that yesterday afternoon. One of those was the assessment increase. I thought we ought to have discussion about that again, which we did. Also, I thought we ought to talk about the fire department support, since we got a fair number of emails about that, so we discussed that yesterday afternoon. The racket center, as I mentioned, was a big topic, so we reviewed that racket center rate changes that we made in doing away with the monthly pass. And then we also discussed the timeshare amenity fees yesterday afternoon. Following all that discussion, the board concluded that the budget as presented is still valid, and that's what we want to go forth with. So I'm going to make a motion, Mr. President, to approve the 2023 budget as presented in November.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, thank you, John. Is there any further discussion on the budget? Tom?
You mentioned that the board discussed the dues increase. Can you tell us the basis for the increase? I looked at your deck and I apologize if I missed it. I don't see specifically where it says we are increasing dues because of that.
Okay. If you recall, because you were at the presentation, and we've had an email exchange about this as well, Mr. Radcliffe. If you recall, in the presentation, we, in order to compensate our employees adequately and fairly, between wages, salaries, and benefits increases, we're going to spend an additional $1.9 million next year for that alone. On top of that, we have 8% increases, we figure, on all of our material and utility costs. And so that's well over probably $2.5, $3 million of increased costs that we're going to realize next year. The $3 assessment, the operating piece of that is around $325,000 as compared to the $2+ million of cost increases. And so quite frankly, I applaud the staff here, Bob and his staff, and this board for finding how we can become more efficient and more effective and make up that difference between the increased revenue of $300 and some thousand versus the increased cost of over $2.5 million. And that's my justification, Tom, for that increase.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor of approving the 2023 budget as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 2023 budget is approved. Okay, this morning we have 8 purchase requisitions to consider. The first one is for the North Star system redesign in the amount of $30,000. Amy.
Good morning. I have before you a PR in the amount of $30,000 for the North Star redesign and upgrade. North Star is our operating and financial software system. We will be upgrading to version 6.5, which will put us into a cloud infrastructure, which will improve our disaster recovery responses. We will also be adding some new modules to help the efficiency and accuracy of the reporting out in the amenities side. And North Star will be performing on-site training. The budget amount was $40,000. The PR is $30,000, so there is a $10,000 deviation there.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Can I have a motion to approve the North Star redesign?
Yeah, before I make that motion, I just want to make for clarity's sake that this is a 2022 budget item, just not to get confused with the 2023 budget we just approved. This is a motion to approve item in the 2022 budget, so I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the $30,000 North Star redesign PR is approved. The 2023 sewer extension engineering study for Tavistock Lane, Ridgeland Terrace, and Knollwood Lane. Bruce.
Good morning. I have a PR for engineering and permitting only of a sewer extension along Tavistock Lane, Ridgeland Terrace, and Knollwood Lane. It's for $4,850. The budget for 2023 sewer extension is $200,000. This will get us the engineering and permitting from TDEC required.
Okay. Thank you, Bruce. Yesterday, we presented this during the workshop, and there were a number of questions and a number of folks that spoke to this. Is anybody here that was here yesterday? Okay, here's what we're going to do there is there were some concerns raised about the environmental impact, which we decided based upon those comments that we would move forward with the engineering study to make sure that we don't have any environmental issues. And then the other topic that was raised by those who are here was to reevaluate how we charge the sewer availability fee, looking at linear feet rather than acreage of the properties touched. And the board has taken that under advisement. We are looking at what controlling documents would need to be changed, if any, in order to reflect the difference in the assessment process for the availability fee, and we will have an answer for that at the January 26th meeting. So given those comments, then, may I have a motion to approve the sewer extension engineering study only in the amount of $4,850?
Make a motion that we approve the engineering for Tavistock Lane, Ridgeland Terrace, and Knollwood Lane in the amount of $4,850.
Okay, is there a second to that motion? Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion for the engineering study in the amount of $4,850 is approved. Okay, the next item is the trails and building purchase and renovation, and this is going to be in the amount of $15,000. Sam?
Yes, sir. This purchase request, we have a building that we've identified that's on Fairfield Glade property. It's owned by a contractor. Even though it's on Fairfield Glade property, he has agreed to sell that building that he erected and maintained to Fairfield Glade Community Club. This building would then be turned over to the Trails Committee for their use. The Trails Committee currently is a group of volunteers that maintain all the trails. They are storing wood, tools, equipment, a UTV at their individual houses. That causes confusion when there's turnover. That causes confusion in any number of ways. We've been looking for a way of having a central location for them to do it. The contractor has agreed to sell us the building, and this PR would be for $15,000 to purchase that building. Is there any questions?
No. Any questions from anyone here? Okay. Then can I have a motion to go ahead and approve that $15,000 appropriation for the purchase of the Trails building?
Motion to approve the building purchase for use by the Trails Committee, amount of $15,000.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Yeah, again, I'll point out, those are 2022 dollars, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That PR is approved in the amount of $15,000. Sam, while you're there, let's talk about the vehicle purchase additional funding.
At the December board meeting of 2021, I put in a purchase request for $80,000 to purchase a Ford F-450. This would include a dump bed for that vehicle and plow and salt spreading equipment. It's a domino effect. I cannot order the bed until I have the truck. I can't order the plow equipment because things change. The truck was unable to be ordered due to logistical issues at the manufacturing. We looked for a used vehicle, was unable to find that. The order window was supposed to be opened in July. It then got moved to October 1st. It then got moved to October 31st. We ordered the vehicle on October 31st. The purchase price of the vehicle was $60,859. That is quite a big jump if you are trying to buy a vehicle. The dump bed, we have an estimate of $11,885, and we have an estimate for the plow equipment of $21,923. The total purchase price for this vehicle, because of the logistics issues and the ability to get the vehicle, has jumped from $80,000, which was the original budget, to just under $95,000. So I came to the board of directors and I asked for an increase in that PR from $80,000 to $95,000. That money will be made up from additional savings within my department on capital projects. Is there any questions?
No. Then may I have a motion to approve the additional $15,000 in funding for the vehicle purchase?
Yeah, before I make that motion, again, that is 2022 dollars we were talking about for the board, and I applaud, Sam, your effort of finding those dollars in your capital budget to cover that increase in cost. Thank you very much. So I'll make that motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the 2022 vehicle purchase additional funding in the amount of $15,000 is approved. Okay, then we have the facility maintenance $200,000 blanket PR.
This PR is for 2023 funds. Every year in December, I come up and request this PR be approved. It's for $200,000. This $200,000 is capital improvements that are planned for the following year. What happens is the money is approved, and as the board member said, every quarter I have to come to them and report what I've spent that money on. We have a plan of what the $200,000 is going to be spent on, and I report back to them with it every year. But by freeing up the money, I do not have to, for each one of these projects, go to the board, and sometimes there's a delay depending on when it happens, it allows me to get that project started right away. Is there any questions?
Okay, then may I have a motion to approve the facility maintenance project budget for $200,000?
I move to approve the $200,000.
Okay, second to that?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the facility maintenance project budget in the amount of $200,000 is approved. And now we have golf course equipment. Jeff?
Good morning, everybody. The first PR is a $350,000 capital budget. This is for all 5 golf courses. What we do is we look for leased equipment coming off leases to save us some money there, find good used equipment. That is becoming harder and harder to come by because of the supply chain issues. We went up from $300,000 to requested $350,000 this year because the new equipment is obviously more expensive and your money doesn't go as far. So a good example of the way the supply chain is, we've ordered a sprayer for Heatherhurst back in April of last year. It was around $79,000. We've yet to receive it. So that's still out there. That new sprayer this year, the price that we got from Bobby Jones was $86,000. So things are going up. So we don't, as Bruce said, we don't ever stop looking for equipment. It's a year-round process. We don't spend the money until we find something that fits our operation. So,
Jeff, do you have any idea what you saved in 2022 so far by using the procedure that you use?
well, like a used rough mower will be around $30,000 if we can find one. That new mower is $80-some thousand. So we're going to save probably with leased equipment at least $15,000 to $20,000 on any piece of equipment.
Okay. Okay, may I have a motion to go ahead and approve then the 2023 golf course equipment PR in the amount of $350,000?
Yeah, again, before I make that motion, Jeff, I really applaud your efforts in doing this. It saves us hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Thank you, Greg. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The $350,000 for the 2023 golf course equipment is approved. And Jeff is back again for golf course improvements.
Okay, this $85,000 PR is, again, like Sam said, we ask for this every year, and where this goes is just around the different golf courses to maintenance projects that come up on us, or something that we see that our need is starting to come and we want to change one of the things. We spent a bulk of the money last year at Dorchester for the driving range enlargement. The driving range was too small, so we went in and used a large amount of this to fix that driving range. Next year we got a few tees that we need to fix, and we always have a project coming up. You got to remember that the youngest golf course we have is the front of the Crag, which it was opened in 1999, 2000. So all the golf courses are 20 plus years older. We have trouble with culverts, and we have a lot of things that happen that just come up on us. So this money is used to make the golf courses better, but also fix some issues that come up during the year.
Okay, is there any questions from members of the board? Then may I have a motion to go ahead and approve the 2023 golf course improvements PR in the amount of $85,000?
Yeah, again, before I make that motion, Jeff has brought to us a list of those things he thinks he wants to work on, and every quarter he comes and fills in what he's done this year to date and what he continues to do. So we get reports back detailed reports back from Jeff on this every quarter. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second to that motion? Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The 2023 golf course improvement budget in the amount of $85,000 is approved. And then the final PR is for the 2023 golf course cart path resurfacing PR in the amount of $100,000.
Okay, so again, this is another PR that we ask for every year, $100,000. Each one of the 9 holes is around 2 miles. So you can think about paving 2 miles of asphalt. You could ask Sam or Bill how far that will get you. So it doesn't get you very far. So what we do every year is we take a part. We spend $30,000 of it in concrete at Stonehenge take our worst spot and make it a lot better, and Stonehenge is getting really close to being concrete all the way around. We take the remainder of the money and split it up around the other golf courses. The bulk of it has been used at Heatherhurst. We have number 9 to go, and all 18 holes will have a resurfacing at Heatherhurst, and then we'll start on probably the front of the crag and start working on areas there with the remainder dollars. And to tell you how long this takes, at the start of December, we finished the entrance to Heatherhurst, had a real bad spot and it's starting to crack, and we was worried about having a lot of issues that would cost us money. So we spent $15,000 to pave from the entrance down to where you turn into the employee lot and into the parking lot. So this money is put to good use through all 12 months of the year.
Okay. May I have a motion to go ahead and approve the 2023 golf course cart path resurfacing project?
I move to approve the $100,000.
Okay, is there a second to that? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the 2023
Thank
golf
you.
cart path resurfacing PR in the amount of $100,000 is approved. At this time, we will recognize Mr. Phil Birdsall to present an FGRS update.
Thank you, Ken. On behalf of Fairfield Glade Resident Services, of course, we start by saying Merry Christmas to everyone, but especially to every member of our community club staff. We are so grateful for everything that you do. I'm pleased to report that we are extremely close to being back at full speed following the pandemic, and we're certainly grateful for that. Now that we're back at full strength, we're beginning to focus on what, if anything, we need to do to identify and meet any unmet needs here in our community. As I've said before here, we invite anyone and everyone to make us aware if you know of a need. And that could be a need of a specific person or a general need here in the community. Either way, let us know so that we can at least discuss it and see what we can do. Today I want to take just a minute to highlight yet another of our operational programs. This one is called Caring Connections. And actually, I must tell you that this program is frankly the most intriguing one that we have to me personally. I'm going to read you a part of the mission statement of this program and then elaborate just a little bit. This is a quote. It is the goal of Caring Connections to act as a liaison between providers of care, services, or assistance and persons residing in Fairfield Glade. While Caring Connection volunteers do not actually perform hands-on care, it is our mission to assist in finding appropriate resources for our clients. Our function is to know the available resources and then make them known to our residents who are in need. At times, socialization is all that is important to a client, and we attempt to provide opportunities for that need as well. We accept referrals from those in need, as well as from family members or even neighbors who have identified a need. We try to assist those in need so that they can remain independent in their homes for as long as possible, and then assist them in finding the best option for residency in a safer, more assisted environment. That's the end of the quote. What intrigues me most about the program is that it's not really well defined, or closely or narrowly defined. It gives us more flexibility. So whatever the need is, program volunteers are actually charged with identifying what alternatives may exist, and then hopefully helping the person in need find a viable solution. Thus, the program's mission does not really exclude any person. It does not exclude any need. We currently have 24 open files, clients that we are working with in one degree or another. Personally, I suspect there are many more of our residents who would take advantage of this program if they were simply aware of it, or if we were made aware of their need. So thanks for allowing me to speak today and hopefully make more residents aware of what we are offering. And of course, we are always accepting volunteer applications. In conclusion, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the volunteer director for this program is someone you may have heard of, Ms. Jeannie Miller. We're very, very pleased to have her working with us. Again, happy holidays, and I hope to see you again next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. At this point, we'll open the floor for comments from Fairfield Glade residents. And so if you have any comments that you'd like to make, step to the podium, please.
Tom Ratcliffe. A few points. First, I'd be very remiss if I didn't congratulate the board in terms of how you handled the questions yesterday from the audience regarding the sewer. It was refreshing to see you guys listen, see you guys respond, and then obviously you took it into consideration and reported back. I thought that was great, so thank you for doing that. The next point that I have is when it came to some of the reporting on food and beverage, Bob, you did mention there were some good things in November. The covers were significantly increased. Great sign, and you know, and you and your staff should be congratulated. I think the question that I have regarding that is, you know, are there things that are taking place that are giving us new momentum? What might be the learnings from the Bobby Jones Links assistance? If you could share a little bit of that with us, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, Bobby Jones Links, we've got a purchasing agreement with them, so we use some of their vendors and we get their discounts. So we've had Cisco and Gordon Foods in the past would be our vendor, but now with Bobby Jones in the mix and adding that purchasing agreement, then we get larger discounts. And that really just took place where we're using that actively here in the last couple months. So we have seen our cost of sales percentage go down as a result of that, and that's definitely helped. But November, the sales were much better than expected, and also the subsidy was probably the lowest subsidy we've had since in the last 10 years. You know, so November was a real good month, and Thanksgiving had a lot to do with that as well. Thanksgiving was very successful financially, so hopefully December, which historically has been a large subsidy month, will be better than in the past with New Year's Eve and what have you. So I encourage y'all to support that event.
Thanks, Bob. My last question for the board, and Ken, this goes to you. You mentioned earlier at the Root Hills meeting that we'll have an agreement in place with the developer or something to look at in January. So one, are we still on course for that? And the second part of that is just want to take and follow up and make sure that to check to see if that agreement's going to include some type of language that protects the club and its members for our ability to be able to use the improvements that we've contributed to, both now as well as the ones that have been done, like the trails and so forth, as well as the ones to come, which would be the restrooms. That's been a discussion for the last year that I made mention. We need some kind of protection in case that property is ever sold, so that the members still have the right to use those improvements. It's not the first time I've brought this up.
Well, Tom, the only statement that I will make on the progress of the memorandum of understanding is what I made at the Druid Hills meeting. We are in negotiations with the developer, and when we have a deal, we will have a deal. And until we have that, there's really nothing that I'm going to share with you with regards to the details of the topics that are under discussion. The expectation is that we will have a memorandum of understanding that we will share with the community at the January 26th board meeting. That agreement will be available for members to view, and the board would not consider that for a vote until the February board meeting. Okay? And that agreement will focus on the topics that are at hand. There's no expectation that in the agreement that we're working on now that we are looking for any universal guarantees into the future.
And can you elaborate for the group why they would be included, especially now when we either made or getting ready to make the contribution towards the restrooms?
The contribution towards the what?
Restrooms?
The restrooms, the contributions to the restrooms are associated with the Grove development, okay? And we have a use agreement in place with the developer at this point that gives us use of all those activities down there for, I believe it's a 10-year, I think the term on it is at least 10 years.
I believe so.
Is what we have.
Okay.
We signed that back when we did the first improvements to the Grove area.
Wonderful. So that, and that carries forward if the property were to change hands, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, do we have any other comments from the floor? Okay, are there any comments from members of the board? Misty, did you have any comments that you wanted to make?
Thank you.
It has been our pleasure, truly our pleasure to work with you. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Let's let Misty make that motion. Okay. And we have a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We stand adjourned. Thank you.